We are live, Jerome. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? How are you
Good,
doing?
good. Hello
Good.
from New York City. Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles,
Yeah,
city of the angels.
the city of the filmmakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so wonderful to see you. Just
Thank
like
you.
2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I saw you at the Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
lovely,
Yeah.
lovely.
Thank you. Yeah.
Santa
Well,
Monica
great.
is so. So tell me a little bit about how long you've been living in Santa Monica.
I've actually been in Santa Monica 3 years. Before that, I was in another part of LA for a long time. So I finally moved to the beach community of Santa Monica, and I love it. It's great. The weather is it's a lot cooler here. Uh,
Yeah.
I actually haven't needed air conditioning. I don't have air conditioning here anyways because many places in Santa Monica don't have air conditioning,
Oh,
but I haven't
yeah.
needed it all summer. Have not needed it.
Yeah. That's
So
amazing.
it is
That's
a
amazing.
well,
So, thank you so much for joining me today. And today, my guest is Jerome Courshon, right? Did I say
that's
right?
close enough. That's close enough.
You say it. You say it.
Courshon.
Courshon. Courshon. Okay. Sean. Okay. Courshon is a film distribution expert. And you can see Jerome's biography in the YouTube this below. And let's see, his biography is very impressive. Let me read it just a little bit of it. Yeah.
Right. Don't bore me though.
Today's go-to authority of how to get a film to market, Jerome Courshon has broken open the executive club of successful independent producers with his innovative 3D program, The Secrets to Distribution. Get your movie distributed now. Along with his math classes, varied lectures, and an elite consulting service under his banner Film Distribution Solutions, Courshon provides variable strategies to producers and directors in getting their films into the top distribution markets. Wonderful, wonderful. Clients have achieved distribution with Warner Brothers, Sony Pictures, Lionsgate, among
Lionsgate.
others.
Lionsgate. Yeah.
Lionsgate, among others. All right, so please read the rest of Jerome's impressive biography in the description below. Now, how do I know Jerome? Do you remember how do I meet you? How did I meet you?
On Clubhouse, actually. On Clubhouse.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's amazing. Still, a lot of people don't know what is a clubhouse. Can you give one kind of distribution, one sentence? What is Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is just an audio. It's an app, social media app, audio enabled, so people can go there and talk live and meet other people live and network and learn and all sorts of stuff. But it's all live. It's all actual audio, people speaking, listening, chatting, etc.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I have been on Clubhouse for about 6 months, and I have met so many wonderful people, including Jerome. And you often give tips at the filmmakers group, and sometimes the group talks about film in general. Sometimes talks about distribution. So tell us a little bit, how did you get involved in this business of distribution?
Well, it's a long saga, but the short version is that I really kind of backed into it. It wasn't anything that I had anticipated, planned, or whatever. It was just a situation where on my very first movie, it took me several years to find distribution for it. This is before all the VOD platforms. We had pay-per-view back then. pay-per-view through HBO or whatever, but we didn't have all the VOD platforms. You couldn't stream movies, live online over the internet. So, so the options were less democratized then as they are today. And I spent several years, learning the game, making a lot of mistakes. I think at one point I hired a producer. I did hire a producer rep. I might have hired two of them at different points in time, and they sucked. Producer reps are usually not the way to get the best deal for your movie, but a lot of filmmakers think that they are. I have a whole article written about that at my website, which people can go read. And the website is just one word, distribution.la, not .com, but .la. So distribution.la, you can read articles I write there. And after I was done, after I got distribution on my first movie, actually through Warner Brothers, amazingly enough, I started writing articles about it about, for film magazines, Movie Maker and other film magazines. So people started calling me and saying, "Hey, Jerome, what you did was phenomenal, fabulous. Can you help me? I don't know what to do." and I'd spend an hour on the phone with them and kind of try to send them on their merry way. But you really can't teach someone distribution in an hour. It's too much. It's too intricate, too complicated in an hour. So I started doing some nighttime classes live here in LA. Standing room only, that just like unbelievable how many people wanted to come and hear. And then I created a 1-day course, then a 2-day course, then a 3-day program. And what you're showing on my website is the front page to my 3-day program on distribution. And it's, so that's kind of how I ended up doing this. I wanted to help filmmakers learn how to not get eaten alive by the sharks in distribution. Because a lot of distributors are crooked or unethical. Not all of them are crooked, but there's a lot of unethical stuff that goes on. And if you're not careful as a producer, as a director, you can get screwed very easily. And there's a lot of landmines where you can get screwed at. So my goal with my course was to try to teach people everything that they really need to know, kind of an A to Z, so that they don't need a producer rep. They don't need to get screwed. They don't need to get, have their movie into the marketplace and never see a dime, because that happens to a lot of people. So, so my goal with the course, and it's still available for people to get, is, look, there's 18 hours of instruction. It's all on video. If you watch it, if you take the course, you are well armed to have success with your movie and avoid all the landmines that most people hit and get blown up by. So, so it was all kind of my whole journey. It was like I never intended to do this. I just, just from a couple nighttime classes, I tried it because friends were like, "Hey, Jerome, you should share this information. You learned so much. You ought to share it." And so just from my couple nighttime classes 15 years ago this fall, it became a side business for me to really help filmmakers and producers navigate the shark infested waters.
You're an actor. You are.
Yeah.
Are you still consider yourself actor?
No. I loved acting, but it was not, that's what I came to LA to do. But I was here a little bit before my time because I'm ethnic looking. Yeah. I don't look like your all-American blonde, blue-eyed person. So
what is your mix?
So the roles that were available to me were never leading roles. They were always the friend of the friend, the character roles. And it was very unfulfilling. And obviously it's all changed now. We're 20 plus years later, but and I'm fine. So my ethnic makeup is Eastern and Western European.
Oh, okay. But you are kind of in a you have some dark tones in your skin, right?
Oh yeah,
You're not
you're
not very white.
No, I'm not, well, I'm not really. I mean, some people consider me white. I actually don't consider myself white, but I guess you could say quasi-white. Look, this is a whole nother topic, but
Yeah.
I don't subscribe. Look, there's 5 categories of five categories of race in the world. It's bullshit. Come on.
Yeah.
And it's only been developed over the past few decades. It's like,
Yeah.
so, if you're from the Middle East, you're white. If you're from, Spain or Mexico, you're white. Your ethnicity is Latino, but you're white. I mean, well, who makes up this crap?
Right. Wait. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on 1 second. I need something because my my computer battery cord is in my bag. Let me think. Where is it? So keep talking. You keep talking. Okay, I'm gonna get a cord because it looks like a little low.
Go
so
get the cord.
I wanted to tell us a little bit about what are the mistakes filmmakers should avoid when they talk about distribution.
Okay, there's a lot of mistakes, but I can share a few of them. So while you go get your battery cord, so one of the biggest mistakes that you folks out there need to be aware of is overconfidence. That sounds maybe stupid a little bit, but filmmakers are by nature very confident, right? I'm a producer myself, writer producer. We're very confident in what we do, what we make, what we put out there. We think it's great. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But just trying to be a little more humble about what we have can really go a long way to avoiding mistakes, because when we think we know everything, we're not open to hearing things that are outside of what we know. If we can't hear things outside of what we know, then we're kind of stuck in what we know, and that's where we tend to make a lot of mistakes. And distribution is very prevalent in distribution, because not only do I come across veteran producers who will acknowledge to me privately they don't know what's going on in the VOD space, they don't understand distribution today, they won't say that publicly, then I can help, enlighten them or educate them a little bit about what's really going on, where are you going to see money with your movie today, what's the level of your movie, in terms of where the launch point can be for your movie. If your movie is high enough caliber and it's got a certain cast to it, the launch point doesn't have to be a VOD. It could be theatrical. It could be a premiere on Netflix. It could be a premiere on Hulu. It could be day and date, which is in theaters and on VOD at the same time, if a distributor is willing to do that. So anyways, overconfidence. Don't be overconfident. Be confident, but not overconfident. That's one big mistake I see a lot of people making. Another mistake would be thinking that you can avoid ever hiring entertainment attorney to review your distribution contracts. I see this all the time. Indie filmmakers don't have a lot of money typically. They're struggling for every dollar to spend on post and then film festivals maybe and this and that. And so when they get a contract and when they get a distributor says, we want your film and here's the contract, they read it over. They're happy as a clam because, oh my God, somebody loves me. Somebody loves my movie. Oh my God, I'm saved. I'm saved. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Where do I sign? And they sign, right? And they don't have the contract reviewed. And I promise you out there, everybody out there listening, almost without fail, 98 to 99% of the contracts you get from a distributor need to be negotiated because they're in their favor. They're not in your favor. And you have to negotiate these things to get them at least neutral. So it's not favoring them over you, neutral or in your favor. And that takes negotiation. That takes knowing what you can negotiate, where there is room to press hard if you have to, or press, look, I can't, $50,000 in recoupable expenses. I can't do that deal. Well, those are our deals. They might say that's what we do. Well, if you really want the film, we've got to find a way to compromise on here and bring that down because, my movie doesn't have name cast. So I know you're not going to spend $50,000 on marketing. Sometimes you have to be blunt like that. Friendly, but blunt. Say, look, you're not going to spend $50,000 on marketing. There are no stars in my movie. Well, okay, they might say, we have overhead. And, we have to ingest your film and, do encoding for the different platforms and this and that and whatever. Okay. A few $1,000s. That doesn't cost more than a couple $1,000s right there. It really doesn't. So, it's really important to learn learn and negotiate your main material deal points and then have an entertainment attorney review the contract once you and the distributor have agreed on the main material points. Very important. That is where so many people get hurt really badly.
Yeah. And it's for filmmakers, especially young filmmakers like me, young meaning not age, like still young in the filmmaking. And when I look at some distribution, because my film is offered contract, I freeze. I had no idea. I sense problems, but I don't know how to articulate. So.
No, and look, I and I get it. You're not alone. And I was that way too. We're creative. We're creatives. Okay, reading a contract is not my favorite thing to do. Even today, it's not my favorite thing to do. I will procrastinate a little bit. I'll procrastinate say a couple of days. I hate it, but I've done it so much. I've read hundreds of contracts that, when I get to, governing law, I don't even have to read that. I know what it says, right? I mean, I don't have to read line by line on these things. I'll let my attorney deal with that. I just look at the main points and go, okay, this is workable. This isn't. I got to negotiate this. This is, and our brain. It's a different part of our brain, right? It's not the creative side of our brain. It's the the other side. The logical, pragmatic, business side of the brain. Yeah. We're not used to that if we haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's scary to a lot of people, or a lot of people procrastinate.
Yeah.
They say, you know what? This distributor said they love me. They said I'm the next Quentin Tarantino. So you know what? I'm signing because they've really complimented me and they love me. No. Any distributor who you think loves you, they don't love you. They're car salesmen in attitude and in schmoozing you. And if they want your film, they're going to schmooze you and they're going to be nice and they're going to be lovely and they're going to tell you you're awesome and you're talented. And why hasn't the world seen you so far? Why aren't you known? That's the shit that they tell you to get you to sign the agreement.
Yeah. So it's an illusion, right? It's a business. Yeah.
And I don't mean to denigrate distributors by saying they're used car salesmen. What I mean is, it's the attitude of, hey, check this out. This is who we are. We're great. You're great. You need to be with us. Maybe, but maybe you got to do your due diligence and really vet that contract. Really vet them. Do due diligence on their company. Find out if other producers have been happy with them.
So thank you. So now COVID has been going on for a year and a half. So does this change the very dramatic picture of theatrical release?
Well, it has in the meantime. Certainly Disney Plus and Warner Media, decided to release movies on VOD at the same time as theaters. Warner Media, is doing that this year, one per month. Now, granted, these are not their top tentpole major potential box office smash movies, but they're the movies that they would have released only in theaters had we not been in a pandemic. And Disney Plus obviously is releasing some select movies, although you still have to pay for them with Disney Plus. It's still $29.95 if you want to watch the Disney, and you have to be a subscriber to Disney Plus. So they're making money. It's working for them. Whether that continues after the pandemic, we'll see. Whether Warner Media decides to continue after the pandemic, we'll see. We'll see if other studios follow suit. They may not. It's too early to tell. I know a lot of people have been prognosticating over this past year. Oh, theaters are dying. They're dead. They're gone. No, come on. No. We're communal creatures. Humans are communal creatures. We want to mingle and mix with others. We want to go out and do things. Most people don't want to sit at home on the weekend, especially if they're young. But they don't want to sit. If you're 18 years old, your ideal weekend is not having your date over and watching a movie on TV. You want to go out. Go to a bar, go to the movies, then go to the bar or whatever. So theaters will not die, but there is a shift that may happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
There is certainly, I read a lot of articles about what people think about this, and there's a certain amount of, unknown. There's a lot of unknown in that respect.
Yeah. So for filmmakers, some filmmakers, young or old, could we do AVA ourselves without a salesperson?
Okay. So, Ching, you're talking AVOD, just so our audience knows, AVOD means ad supported. A stands for ad supported video on demand. That's like Tubi TV, IMDb TV, Zumo, the Roku channel, Paramount Plus, Pluto TV. So there's a lot of AVOD platforms now. That has become a huge market for film and entertainment since the pandemic started. Can you get to those without a distributor or aggregator? And the answer is no, you can't. AVOD needs a distributor or aggregator, so you'll have to make a deal with someone. Well, there are also some DIY. I call them DIY, do-it-yourself aggregators, where you don't need a traditional distributor or aggregator. You can go to a DIY aggregator, and most of them have a limited number of platforms you can get on. Some of them will include a couple of the AVOD platforms, so you can do that. And there's a cost to it. It's not hugely expensive, but if you want to go to, let's say, Bitmax, and again I call them a DIY aggregator. It's depends on how many platforms you want to go to, but it's going to cost you in the realm of anywhere from probably $1,300-$1,400 to $2,000 to $3,000. That's fine. That's an option. I prefer going to an aggregator where I don't have to or a client, if I'm working with a client and they say, look, Jerome, I want to kind of take a DIY approach. Okay, fine. But there are options out there where there are some aggregators out there that are not what I consider DIY, who take no expenses. They eat the expense of encoding and getting to platforms. That's part of their distribution fee. So I would prefer those versus Bitmax, but Bitmax and some others are a viable option. Sure.
So what is aggregator?
Yeah. So an aggregator is...
what a strange name.
Yeah, I know. It came about in, I want to say maybe 07, 08, somewhere in the mid to, partway into the double O's, where some businesses started up, a couple that are still around today. They started up, and their only goal was to aggregate content and then get it onto VOD platforms. So that's where they aggregated, collected content, aggregated, that's where the name comes from. And then they would get it onto various VOD platforms, and they wouldn't necessarily do any marketing like a traditional distributor used to do. So that's how the term aggregator came about. That term is still used today. And it was a differentiating term from distributor because A, they didn't do marketing, and B, all they did was get content onto VOD platforms. They didn't do anything else. They didn't try to sell to TV. They didn't try to put it in theaters. They didn't try to sell it overseas in the rest of the world. It was just aggregating here in the US. Today, there's a lot of blending between a distributor and aggregator. Many aggregators are now also distributors, but there are still some that are only aggregators. So I and others in the industry, we will sometimes use the name interchangeably, or when I write about it, I tend to say distributor, and I'll just do, / aggregator to kind of lump them into a category of distribution.
Mm. Yeah, very good. Very well explained. So I was wondering, did you have a literature degree? Because you write really well and you speak very clear.
Thank you. No, my mom was an English major, in college. That was her thing. She graduated with a degree in English. So I grew up in a household where we had these two big dictionaries. One was like A through L, and the other was, and these things were freaking huge, right? Dinner conversation, a word comes up. We didn't know what it was. My parents might say, okay, go look it up, rather than tell us. So we pull the book off the shelf and look it up. And my mother would correct us growing up if we said something like, I don't know if I get an example. I don't know, maybe like ending a sentence with preposition, which is a very Chicago Midwest thing that people do. And that's how we kind of grew up. And, my mom might say, don't end the sentence with a preposition. We didn't get berated for it, just, so there was always that. And I excelled at English in school, in both high school and college. I was very good, straight A. So it's like, if you tell me what is the participle, what's the subject, what's the blah, 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 I was always rough on that. I just knew it intuitively. I just knew how to, anyways, whatever. I just know, if the sentence is a run-on sentence, it's very easy to break it up. Some people, I don't know. Anyways, yeah.
What was your major in college?
Theater arts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's wonderful. Now, as a distributor, what makes you or distributors to wanting to pick up a film or films? How many films in their hand do they have in general?
Okay, so
at one time. Yeah.
Sounds like there's two questions there. What causes them to?
Yeah, two questions. What makes them to pick up? Do they see the potential of the film will sell, or do they just like it themselves?
No, generally, most distributors and aggregators are not going to pick up a film just because they like it. They need to see that they're going to make money with it. This is 99.9% of the distributors. There's some exceptions. There's always exceptions. Anything I say here today, there are exceptions. There's a few that are very content centric, and they have to like it or feel that there's merit in order for them to pick it up. But there's very few of those. Most of them are about money. Will it make money? Can we sell it? So what causes a distributor to decide to say yes on your movie? There are two big factors. And most filmmakers and producers, especially first-timers, sometimes even second-timers, don't understand this. It'll be obvious to some of you out there, but it's not obvious to everybody. You need a kick-ass trailer. And when I say kick-ass, not the trailer that your director made on his own, right? Not the trailer that your director made, because your director knows how to tell a 90-minute or 120-minute story, but now your director thinks that he or she knows how to tell that story in 90 seconds. Sorry. Very few directors, men or women, have that skill set as well. So don't make the trailer yourself, because I guarantee you 99.9% of the time it's not going to be kick-ass. So if your trailer is kick-ass, that's the first, threshold for them. And your poster has to be great. I see the worst posters in the world from indie filmmakers. They grab images and they mash them together on a, image, and the fonts suck, or the images suck, or there's no concept there, or it's a mishmash. It's like, what are you communicating with this poster? Oh, I don't know. I just, I like the images. No, your poster has to communicate what the genre of the film is and give some idea of what people are going to get when they watch your movie. And if it's well made and well constructed, and you have a kick-ass trailer, almost every distributor that you contact will either say, yes, we want to screen the movie, or if that distributor is very cast-driven means they really only want to handle films with names in them, they'll just say no, because that they don't want to deal with films without names. But if you have a film with names, don't just rely on that. Have a kick-ass trailer, have a great poster, and you will get many, many distributors going, let's see the movie. We want to screen the movie. I can't stress this enough. There's a night and day difference here. When I'm working with a producer, if I'm the one, so just FYI, sometimes I'm in my consulting services, sometimes I'm kind of the coach, and the filmmaker is doing the pitching themselves. They're contacting the distributors. I'm just giving them a list of who to go to and how to reach them, how to get a hold of them, how to pitch them. Sometimes, on rare occasions, if I like the movie and the filmmaker really wants me to do it, I'll do the pitching. If I have a great trailer and a poster, almost everyone I pitch, we want to see the movie. If the trailer is bad or mediocre, well, usually I don't want to then pitch it, because they're going to say no. And if I do, they say no. And they won't even watch your movie. They need to know that they can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know filmmakers think, oh, I send them my 90-minute movie, everybody's going to watch it. No, they don't. They're too busy. They should. There was a time when maybe they used to, when there wasn't such a glut of product in the marketplace, but there's over 5,000 movies being made every year. Most of them are indies. They don't have time to watch your 90-minute movie. They want to see the trailer. They want to see the poster. If they like it, they may watch a few minutes of the film to make sure that it's good in their eyes, or they may watch the whole thing. But don't count on them watching the whole thing. And if your trailer and poster aren't good, they're not going to watch it. Most of them will not watch it. They'll watch 2 minutes maybe. Or their secretary. They'll have their secretary or someone else in the office watch it, and they'll watch a few minutes, and they'll tell the boss, pass. And the boss then tells you, pass. So, it's distribution is a whole other thing from being creative. I mean, there is creativity in it, right? But it's different. You make a movie, you think it's great, maybe it is great, but that's not what gets people to. You telling your audience it's a great movie doesn't get them to watch it or buy it. You have to sell them on that you have a great movie, and you do that with a poster, a trailer, and pedigree, something I call pedigree, which is critical acclaim or awards if you win awards at film festivals, stuff like that.
Yeah. So now, typically, a distributor or a small company, how many films they usually have in their hands?
Hundreds, thousands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot.
There are some distributors who have probably 10,000 plus movies, content, a lot of content, especially the big distributors who've been around a long time. Yeah. Thousands. Many of them thousands, hundreds to thousands.
Yeah. So now, what is the I had no idea when I was making film. Like I just knew I would submit my film to festival, and then eventually after the festival sees it, or some distributors start to contact me. So, what is the ultimate goal for filmmakers? Do they make a film to go to a festival to win awards, or can they skip that process, just directly being distributed?
Yeah, you don't have to go to film festivals, but I mean, look, filmmakers, why do they make movies? Because it's in their DNA, and they, that's what they want to do. It's in their bones to do it. And often they're making a movie without a clear destination or goal in mind, other than to express through this kind of type of medium, creative expression through this type of medium, and then they want to get it out in the world. So I can't really speak to the why. Film festivals serve a purpose. Not every film has to go to the film festival route. It really depends on the genre. If you have a horror film, action adventure, thriller, zombie, vampires, whatever, no, you don't really need necessarily to do film festivals. You can do some of the horror film festivals if you want. Do you need that to get distributors interested? No. If you have a drama with no name, no cast driven, no name marquee names in the movie, or an American comedy, no names in the movie, or a coming of age film, or a documentary, those kinds of films need pedigree. And that's where film festivals can be very valuable, because when you submit a drama to a distributor, if there's no name cast, most of them are not interested. They don't want to touch it, because the American public does not, dramas, I don't care what people read about online about statistics of the type of movies people watch most. I saw a report that drama was pretty high. Well, yeah, but those are dramas with stars in them. Those aren't dramas with no name cast in them. Dramas with no name cast are not viewed en masse by the public unless the filmmaker, the producer, or the distributor has given them a reason to watch. The best movie ever made this year, in quotes, right? Or a Sundance Award-winning movie.
Right.
The Golden Bear winner at Berlin. That gives your audience a reason to watch your drama. That's just, it's human nature. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just not my fault, our fault, but human nature is people, the biggest audiences for, sci-fi and horror and genre films, and films with, stars and a recognizable cast. That's what people want to watch.
Right.
That doesn't mean if you make a drama with no names in it, nobody's going to watch it. People will. It's just the level of how much people watch. How many people are going to watch it? 10,000 or 1 million. And so it's just very important to build pedigree for many different types of indie films.
So the film I just recently saw, it's last year's best direction or best picture, the Nomadland. Nomadland.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Nomadland. I was curious, why this film got such notification notice.
Because of who stars in it. It's who stars in it, really.
Yeah. Francis Dorman, right?
Dorman, and it's also a different kind of film. I mean, I haven't seen it, but different kind of film. It's actually a film that hasn't spoken to me to watch. I probably will still see it at some point in time, but it gets mixed reviews. Just because the film wins the Oscar doesn't mean it's a great movie.
It puzzles me a little bit, because it is almost like a very documentary style. The speed was very slow. It has some really beautiful cinematographer scenes, of the wild, West. But yeah, to me, it's like a great, almost like a French slow film feeling. And then in terms of distribution, you can see it on Amazon Prime and also Hulu. So I was wondering, a film like that won the award, right? And still ended up in Hulu or Amazon. Can they make money?
Oh, of course, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, um, VOD is the place where films are going to end up. Even if they go into theaters, they're going to end up on VOD because that's how people are watching content today. People are not, now the DVD and Blu-ray market, it still exists, but it's not near as big as it was, 15, 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago. So people will still buy DVDs and Blu-rays, but not the way they used to. And certainly not the younger generations. I mean, millennials and Gen Z, do they even own a DVD player? Many of them probably don't. They didn't build a library. They don't still have so where's so television, premium cable, HBO, Showtime, Stars, television, cable television as well, and VOD. That's where movies are going to end up. All movies.
How difficult it is to get picked up by Netflix?
Yeah, and Netflix, look, the thing about Netflix is, people are still living on this, it's not, but oh my God, Netflix, I want to be on Netflix because it gives me credibility. I don't agree with that. If you can get a good license fee for a film, great. If it's an exclusive, great, but that you're limited to. But if it's exclusive, you're limited to the time frame where you're only going to get that license fee, and that's it for that entire duration of time. So, it's not easy. It depends on the film. If the film's got names in it, there's a chance. If it got pedigree, if it's a Sundance Award winner, it might get picked up for Netflix deal. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. No, I know it's hard. I've been asking some people. So ideally, I would love to be able to be picked up by Netflix. And people always say it's difficult. They have 1,000 films a day. People submit. And
is this a question from Michael here?
No, this is Michael. Michael is also in distribution.
Okay.
So he made a comment. Yeah, no, that's my question. So Michael said, "What gets a distributor to watch candidate content for distribution?"
Yeah,
Cast. That's true. The track records of the producer and director, a catchy synopsis, awards won at significant festivals.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I go further than that, not to disagree with Michael. I go further than that. It really depends on, if there isn't cast in the film, then if there's cast in the film, it's easy to get any distributor at least check out what you've got. It really is. And if you don't have cast in your film, if it's not cast driven, then you're really dealing with what kind of pedigree, again, I use the word pedigree, what kind of pedigree have you developed on this film? Did you win at a major film festival, which is good, or not? And there will be distributors out there who will disagree with this, or there will be even industry people disagree with this, but I don't really care. I do care, but I don't care at the same time. If you only won awards at second tier or third tier film festivals, you know what? When I'm involved, distributors will check it out. They'll see what you've got. And again, they'll either look at your poster and trailer, or if there is no trailer and you haven't made one, it depends on whether they'll watch the movie or not, or watch the first 5-10 minutes, right? So building pedigree is really important if there is a cast, because I can pretty much get most distributors to see what it is that we're pitching them. There are, and I've heard this on Clubhouse from some people. Oh, film festivals, they're a waste of time. Don't do them. Oh, nobody cares if you won awards. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. Sorry for my blue language, but that's BS. Most distributors are attenuated to what helps them sell. And when they see a film that's won a bunch of awards, they're willing to take a look. They don't go through the list of awards and go, I've never heard of that film festival or that one or that one or that one. No, I don't want to see it. They may say, well, I haven't heard of these film festivals, but it's won 10 awards. So there might be something here. It might be that one gem that could make me a lot of money. I don't know. I better check it out. That's the overriding agenda is to find movies that will make them money. So they don't know until they take a look. That's where I go a little further than than our listeners' comment. But he is right in terms of the general scope of what he said, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. If any one of you in the audience, please write your question if you have for Jerome. And now, so Jerome, tell me a little bit about.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of distributors, not a lot. There are some distributors out there who hate me.
They do?
Yeah, because I'm educating filmmakers on getting contracts to be neutral or in their favor. I'm educating filmmakers to protect themselves against the corruption and the unethical behavior. So there's a lot of distributors who, they don't care one way or the other. It's like spitting in the wind. They don't, I'm probably seen as spitting in the wind, so they don't care. There's always another movie coming in the door who doesn't have that education. So I think most don't care. But there are some who've actually come after me and have gone, and have said negative things because, they don't want me educating filmmakers. They don't want me to tell filmmakers don't accept $25,000 or $50,000 in marketing expenses if you have a no cast driven film, because that hurts their bottom line. And so, anyways, I just wanted to throw that out. Not that your listener hates me, but I do get pushback from some distributors every now and then, and I'm like, hey, everybody's got their own opinion. I will mention this.
So what if? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
This last week, I was negotiating with a distributor, with a client, who had hired me to help place his movie. It's got some name talent in it, and the distributor. It's an international sales company, and so this international sales company said, "We don't do performance clauses. You just don't do them."
What's that?
So
What's performance clause?
Okay, performance clause is a performance. No, it's a good question. Performance clause means that, and I like to have this with any international sales company. International sales companies that sell around the world outside the U.S. and Canada. I like to have a performance clause, and what that means is that they have a limited period of time in which to make an X number of sales. And that's a negotiation. So you've got to do this amount of sales with my movie in this time frame in order to have a full term with the movie, 5 years, 10 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you don't hit this level of sales in this time frame, a year maybe, 9 months, whatever you negotiate, if you don't, the rights come back to me. You lose the rights to the film. I will take the rights back and I will do something else with it. So that's a performance clause. Every international sales company knows what this is. And many of them are fine with them. Rarely, but sometimes might even be one in the contract that you get. Usually the filmmaker has to negotiate this to get it in the agreement. So last week, 3 weeks ago, we're negotiating. The distributor says, we don't do those. Sorry. And there were a couple other points. And, I'm a decent negotiator. So when we had our second conference call this past week, I had to be the bad cop, but I wasn't a bad cop, but, I had to say, look, we've got to come to compromise in some way on these 2 to 3 deal points, because if we can't, we're going to have to walk away. And I'm sorry to say that, but you have no skin in the game. This is a movie that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's got some name talent. There's other interest out there. We've got to find a compromise that we both can live with, or there's no point in continuing. So sometimes you have to, it's hard for a filmmaker to say that to the distributor because they want to have a good working relationship should they work together.
Right.
So sometimes it's good to have somebody like me or someone else or your attorney in the middle to be the bad cop if necessary. So I had to say that. And it got them to move off of their rather firm position of no negotiation on those points. So we reached a compromise in that call. And, and we're in the red line process of the contract right now. So, hopefully everything will be fine. But it's really important that that you've got to, the bottom line is you've got to negotiate certain points. Otherwise, you may never see any money, whether the film has cast or no cast. It's just, I was just contacted by a name actor, a friend of a friend, who has a new indie movie. He's probably in it. He has a name, and and we'll see if I can assist him, because his last movie, he told me, he got ripped off on. Shouldn't have gotten ripped off on. It's a film that a lot of people have heard about. I can't say the name, but should not have gotten ripped off. So it almost doesn't matter who you are. You can be a director or a producer with no name, or you could be someone everybody knows. You can still get ripped off. So, anyways, I guess that's why sometimes distributors hate me, because I'm trying to help and educate.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, especially for documentary filmmakers or young filmmakers, like, you deal with distributors, and then they want to redo your poster, they want to redo your trailer, they want to redo your sound, they want to redo your color correction. All the money is coming from the filmmaker before the revenue comes in. So, I don't know. It's like, where does filmmakers see proceed?
Okay, well, that's a good question. It depends on the level of the film, but there's, I have to kind of talk in two different categories. The films with no names in them, the distributor's not going to want to redo your trailer. They're not going to want to redo your poster. I mean, they might, but they don't really want to. If they really like the film or think it's got potential, maybe they will. That's one category. And then the other category, you've got cast. You've got recognizable actors. Again, I prefer having a good trailer and poster before you start pitching distributors, because that has an effect on whether they want to watch your movie or not, or really consider it or not. And if you don't have that, but you've got names in your cast and they're willing to check out your film, okay, and they want it, then they'll pay for the trailer and the poster, and it comes out of your gross revenues. Today, it's different today than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, a lot of distributors would just do the trailer and charge you for it, or do the poster and charge you for it. But there's 5,000 plus movies being made every year. A lot of distributors just don't want to do a lot of work. They want it to be there and done and ready to go, so they don't have to screw with your poster, redo your poster. And if they want to redo your poster, you might have what's the word I'm looking for here? You might have the ability to comment on the poster, and you might have the ability to approve it, maybe not. And they don't really want to, directors can be very picky. And so maybe the distributor does a poster and the director doesn't like it, and then they start fighting about it. Distributors want to avoid that if they can. Same thing with a trailer. Sometimes when I'm working with a director, and we get a new trailer done, the director is very, very, but that one line, I want that one line in the trailer. And I'm like, no, why? The trailer works, or maybe we need to tweak it, but the trailer, it's going good. Well, I don't like that music cue over there. Come on, we're creating a sales tool. We're not creating art. Trailers are not art. Trailers are a sales tool. So, anyways, I think many distributors really don't want to have to get into that with trailer and poster. If it's done and it's good, they're happy. That is, if they want to handle the film. Anyway, I don't know. That didn't really answer your question in full.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So I was wondering, 3 minutes, we're going to do rapid fire.
Okay.
What are the 3 questions filmmaker needs to ask distributor if they are interested, if distribution company are interested in their film?
Okay. Good question. Good question. The first thing would be, my first question will tend to be, what do you want to do with the movie or the documentary? It's an open-ended question. Oh, by the way, don't have these conversations by email. Get on the phone, because trying to negotiate or talk about the film by email kind of sucks. So I want to get on the phone. And first of all, I want to meet, whether it's on Zoom or in person. I want to meet who I'm going to get into bed with. Email. There's no real connection there. And, it's just not great. So let's say the distributor X says, okay, we're interested. We love the film. Great. Let's have a call. I mean, if we didn't already have a call to begin with, let's get on the phone and chat, or let's have a Zoom meet and chat. So my first question is, what do you want to do with the film? If it's a film with names in it, are you looking at theatrical? Are you looking at day and date? Are you looking at just VOD? What do you want to do? Or if it's an international sales company, great. What do you think you can do with the film? Send me a min-max chart. I don't know if we have time to get into that, but a maximum minimum take chart from an international sales company, not domestic distributors, but international sales companies. So what do you want to do with the film? What do you think you can do with the film? They're related, but those are the first maybe 2 questions. And then I will probably have questions based on what they say. If they say, let's say it's a film without name cast, and the distributor aggregator says, well, we want to go to AVOD with your title. We want to go to ad-supported video on demand. I'm going to say, well, so you don't want to do any TVOD? That's transactional video on demand. And they might say, yeah, we don't think it's a title that's going to really perform on TVOD. And that might be true. TVOD meaning the audience is paying $3.99 or $4.99 or $2.99 to rent your movie to watch. So they might say, well, we don't think it's going to perform on TVOD, so why even do that? Well, at least then I get a sense of where they're at with what they think with the film. And then, if I'm working with a client, we will talk about it. The client might say, well, look, I have an audience of 10,000 people who want to see this movie. Okay, well, then TVOD really is important, because if your audience follows you and they like you, they love you, and they love your work, then getting them to spend $3.99, you're going to get a percentage of them to spend $3.99. So anyway, so those are the 2 questions. What do you think you can do? What do you want to do? What do you think you can do? And then
Marketing.
I have about, probably a half a dozen to 10 questions that I always will ask. But marketing, sure. That is a question that I will ask. Do you want to do marketing? And a lot of distributors will say, yes, we're going to do some marketing. And then I want to know, what kind of marketing? What does that entail? Oh, we're going to post on Facebook and Twitter. We have accounts there, Instagram. And if that's all they're going to do, that's not enough. It's just not enough today. So what else? Another question is, this is important too. And again, it depends on whether there's names in the film or not. If there are no cast, if it's not a cast-driven film, they're not going to want to give you a minimum guarantee or an advance, probably, unless it's a horror film, maybe. And with names, so I'm going to say, are you willing to offer an advance or a minimum guarantee? That's probably the 3rd question that I will ask. And sometimes they'll say yes. And if so, I'll say, what would that amount be? And if they say no, then I move on to my next question.
So for hypothetically, you saw my documentary, My Young Gun Diary. If I would ask for a minimum advance, how much would that be?
No. I don't believe anybody would pay that. Would give you an advance.
Is that bad?
or even give you a minimum guarantee. And now and by the way, just so your audience knows, you have a good film. It's a good documentary. It's an interesting documentary. There is an audience for it, I believe, but no distributor, I think, is going to ever really offer an advance or minimum guarantee because, number one, Andrew Yang, because the documentary is about Andrew Yang and the people who, really pushed to help him have success. He didn't win. He didn't do well on the presidential campaign. Yeah. He lost the attempt at becoming mayor of New York City. So it's kind of old news for a lot of people, which is why I also suggested maybe some re-editing would be in order, and opening it up a little bit. We talked about that. I think we talked about that. And so, your film will not be, again, there's an audience for it. It's well shot. It's well made. But I don't believe that distributors are going to look at that and go, well, we can give you $20,000 as an advance or a minimum guarantee, because I think they're going to say, well, we don't know what it'll do in the marketplace. We have no idea. And that would be true. They don't have an idea. They don't know for sure. Nobody knows for sure until it's out there.
Right.
Which is why horror films is the one genre that sometimes we can still see advances for, even if there are no names in that film, because they make money. So.
Interesting. I never knew horror film is in the genre of, liking by people, in more general sense. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because genre films transcend language. So when you've got a horror film, it's easy to export that around the world. Because the language often is not, you're being chased by a killer. Your monster is trying to is trying to destroy a town. The film is not language dependent. It's visual dependent. So somebody with a horror film, for example, a genre film will have a market in the US and Canada, and we'll have a market around the world.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So, Jerome, I actually, one of my film called Black Lives Matter is going to be shown tonight in a film festival in a park. So okay. After I talk to you, I'm going. So anything else you want to shout out before we do the little game?
I did mention my website. So if people like what I had to say today, I have a lot of free articles and interviews and podcasts available at my website, which is distribution.la. People can go check it out. It's in one of the options in the menu.
I showed it. Let me see. Let me show it one more time. I showed it to us earlier. Let me see. You can see it.
And my website does need updating. I granted that.
Your website. I also find your IMDb. On your IMDb account, you have a trailer of
a movie. I think it's a trailer of my very first movie. So people go to the free stuff menu option. That's where I have a bunch of free stuff, and then the video clips below it.
Free stuff. Okay. Yeah.
And the video clips option.
Oh yeah. Video clips.
Excerpts from my course.
Oh yeah. Let's see if I click this. Can you see it? Let me see. Can you see it?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And the strategies we're going to talk about are specifically.
Let me make it bigger.
How to build buzz while you're on the festival circuit. How to work the circuit in such a way.
Nice.
That this helps you build the pedigree that we've been talking about at length. Building your pedigree.
Great. Thank you. Yeah.
That's where I talk about how briefly that's an excerpt from a section in my course about how film festivals can really help build pedigree.
Okay. Pedigree. I have no idea. What does that mean?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, pedigree I use the term pedigree in the sense that it is all the stuff that helps convince the public that you have a good movie, or the distributor that you have a good movie. Accolades, film festival awards, critical acclaim, critics who might review your movie if you're at a film festival, although that doesn't happen a lot. But you get written up by the press, and the press has seen your movie. They might say something nice about it. That's pedigree. Anything says, hey, I got a movie and people like it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is your IMDb account.
Yep.
Very nice. Shall we play the trailer?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. No. You don't like it? Okay.
No, it's a good trailer, but no, I don't.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is a very nice. So IMDb is a movie database, right? For filmmakers or directors or even just distributors.
It's what everybody goes. It's what everybody goes to for information on people and movies, etc. And by the way, distributors will always, when you pitch them a movie, they'll always go here to check out what year is dated on your movie. Yeah. And what the rating might be. So be aware of that. Your audience should be aware of that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much. Let's do the rapid fire.
You're going to ask me a bunch of random questions.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you 1 word, 2 word answers.
Yeah.
So we'll have fun with this.
Okay. All right. So name top 3 films you really love.
Well, that's a hard one, but all right. Because I have like 20 that are probably my favorite of all time. So I'll go with the traditional, but I can't help it. The Godfather, Apocalypse Now. Those are 2 of the greatest movies ever made. Chinatown. I mean, yes, these are movies made in the 70s. They're a great movie. I have some great current, recent movies that I love as well. But those are movies that always pop into my head because they were brilliantly made, brilliantly executed, the writing, the directing, the producing. Yeah. So those are among my top 3.
Thank you. How about top 5 film festivals? People think it's good.
Well, all right. So I mean, the top film festivals worldwide. Okay, in the U.S., in the North America, you've got Sundance, Toronto. I guess we could put Slamdance in there as well. South by Southwest, Tribeca. Those are probably, those are maybe in the top 5, and then worldwide, when we open it up to worldwide, including Canada, did I say Toronto? Toronto is a major film festival. Cannes, Berlinale, Venice. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you. My film won Toronto Documentary Film Festival, which you never heard of it.
Well, that's okay.
They did really good job.
By your film.
They did really good job. They made a short film about my film. So nice. Anyway, so what else? Are you a vegetable eater or meat eater? Like if you go to Chinese restaurant, right? Sometimes they ask you chicken, beef, or vegetable. What are you?
No, I'm not a vegan. I'm a carnivore. But I know lots of vegetarians and
yeah, great. So do you exercise?
I do.
Oh, you look good. By the way, I see you 2 weeks ago. You look really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah. Now, if you have a leisure of say 6 months, you don't have to worry about making money. Which country, which city would you like to live?
I would probably hop around. I've been to Europe before. I want to spend some more time in Europe, so I'd probably go to many of the European countries. If I had 6 months, I'd probably want to spend about 3 weeks in each of the different countries to experience the culture and hang out and drink coffee and that kind of thing. So yeah, Europe probably.
Great. Which social media do you like the best? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
God, I don't know. I don't love any of them, honestly. Facebook is, Facebook is all about making money for Facebook. Instagram is limited. I mean, I know it's popular, of course, but it's limited in terms of like today. Like I promoted this thing that we're doing here, and I don't think that when I post the link that I don't know. I'm ignorant. I'm not as well versed in Instagram, but it doesn't show up as a hyperlink. I think it will if I commented on it, but so Instagram is kind of a pain in the ass, I think, because I use my laptop, I use my phone, but it's kind of wonky to post with my laptop on Instagram. It's really more conducive to your phone because that's what they want.
Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah, I don't really spend much time on Twitter. If anything, I tell politicians how horrible they are. Not that they never read my comment, my tweets, my direct tweets to them, but most politicians suck. So I don't know. I mean, Clubhouse. I like Clubhouse. Every platform has its pro and con.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, Clubhouse has really linked me to many people like you. We actually are building a relationship, working together. I met Darian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also met some other filmmakers when I was in California. Yeah,
and I've met some people now as well, and have developed friendships with other industry people. So it's been nice, actually. I mean, out of all of them, I probably like that one the best at this moment in time.
Yeah. That's great. So, did you? What is the last book you read?
The last book I read. I tend not to read books in their entirety. I will read parts of books, or I'll start reading a book. I'll get to some point, and then I
Me too.
I think right now I did the last book that I cracked open to start reading is a book I bought years ago called it's from the Dalai Lama, actually. It's a book that the Dalai Lama wrote. I think The Art of Happiness or something like that. So, I'm very much into. I love spiritual, metaphysical, philosophical stuff. So, the Dalai Lama, Krishnamurti, people like that, Yogananda. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not a Zen person, but I like reading that kind of stuff. So
that's great. So now, this is a silly question. What is your favorite color?
Purple.
Nice.
And then maybe green is my second favorite color.
Yeah, you look good. Last time when you saw me, you were a kind of pastel kind of a color. It looks really good on you. Yeah. So now, what was I gonna say? Yeah. I forgot. I want if I were to take you for a drink right now, what do you order?
If we're talking alcohol, probably I like margaritas. I like tequila.
Yeah.
I don't drink tequila that much, though. I mean, I don't drink hard alcohol that much. If anything, often it might just be a beer. So a beer or a draft beer or. Yeah.
So what do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's a good question. I don't know. I'm kind of not one of those people that do that 5-year plan stuff anymore. I did that when I was younger. When you're busy making plans, God has different agenda for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good because if you actually do have a destination in mind, it's very important. It's funny that you asked that question because when I'm working with a producer or a director, they hire me to consult. The first thing I ask them, and we talk about it, is what is their goal for the movie or the doc? because it helps us set the framework for how we're going to approach getting them to reach their goal. So I do believe in having a goal. I guess I just, in my life, I don't really do that anymore. So 5 years from now, I don't know, maybe I have a TV series concept that I'm working on, maybe having a TV series that's running, or maybe producing more movies, because I do that. So yeah, maybe.
So
maybe.
you still enjoy being a producer?
Love producing. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
It's all about troubleshooting, and it's all about overseeing a business starting from nothing, and then getting through the film, post, and then shutting everything down and going, it's like running a business, really, and I like that.
Yeah, that's great. So last question: coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee.
This is coffee. Look, and bulletproof coffee, actually.
Oh, bulletproof. I have a Turkish coffee. Yeah. So ganbei. Great. Thank you so much, Jerome. This has been so wonderful to talk to you.
And if people want to contact me, Ching, they can.
Yeah, I put your contact in the below. I will add your website and maybe add one of your social media. Which one? Facebook?
Yeah, my film distribution page on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. If you check the website, it has everything, right?
Yeah. Yes, under contact, my telephone and contact me form. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wanted to also say last word is that I want to thank you for helping me. And it's not like I'm just talking to you right now. We actually talked on Clubhouse, and then outside Clubhouse, you spent time talking with me. You said, let's make a short conversation, and it lasted an hour and a half. So I really, really appreciate you. I just want to let people know you're for real.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Drew.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I'll see you very soon in Clubhouse.
Sounds good. Good luck. Okay. Good luck this evening with your film.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm going to end our broadcast. Thank you so much for watching, people. And we really appreciate you and your questions.